Hello and welcome to the Tavern Chat podcast. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor at the Tenkar's Tavern blog. And yes, yesterday's podcast about sword dreams and the logo that looks a little bit like a phallic symbol with the scrotum underneath it, at least one of them. Um, it's certainly gotten a lot of listens. And we have a voicemail from Dave. So, Dave, take it away.
Hey Eric, it's Dave Aldridge here from Deep Percentile. Yeah, look, I thought your last rant was really important. I thought it was just me who suddenly saw Sword Dream explode all over my Twitter feed and wondered what it was all about. And I found my way towards some thoughts which I think are similar to yours. One thing I would say though, with regard to your confusion about the logos, we've kind of known this for thousands of years. Swords are always cocks, yeah. So any logo where you're trying to just depict a sword, I don't think you're going to be able to get that association out of your head. But yeah, I very much enjoy your podcast, and I'll check in with you again soon.
Yeah, swords are always kind of phallic, and then putting that, I guess, eyelid, eye, closed eye, sleeping eye, whatever, underneath it certainly, to me, made it look like a scrotum. But there's a lot more to it than this. Okay, Sword Dreams and the folks behind it are that same crew that feel that the OSR is toxic. And they argue that on both sides that as a community it's toxic, or it's not a community, it's a movement, it's a label, but some people don't like the label because they feel it is toxic. Fine. First off, you have to decide if the OSR is a community or isn't. I would say that overall the OSR is a community. It's not homogenized like your milk is. All right. It has lots of different elements. I don't say nobody, but a lot of people are not going to agree on what defines the OSR. I know I'm in that category. My definition probably doesn't apply to a lot of other people, but I feel camaraderie with people that are within the OSR. Sword Dreams to me does feel a bit like an attempt. All right, it's more than a bit like. It's an attempt at gatekeeping. And why do I say that? Because they are defining what's going to be Sword Dreams or whatever. I still think it's a fucking retarded, all right, bad word, fucking stupid way to define anything. It's an acronym that is so forced, but whatever. And it looks like it's aiming at the do-it-yourself crowd. Now, there was an OSR do-it-yourself community or just DIY community, which is great. I don't necessarily see so much of a difference between the DIY, which claim to be creators, and the OSR, which is full of creators. It's just that people in the DIY side that are looking at the Sword Dreams don't want to be associated with the OSR at large because of perceptions that personally I haven't seen. I've seen the OSR as, with very few exceptions, and I'm sure there are some large personalities out there that can certainly be labeled as assholes, and I'm sure the pundit is not going to stray far from even labeling himself an asshole. You know, but gatekeeping in a sense that this is what we expect of you if you want to be a sword dreamer or whatever the fuck they're gonna wind up going with. Or I still fail to see the change, I guess. All right. I mean, there's this whole topic going on about gatekeeping. And gatekeepers only have the power and authority that you, the one being gatekeeped or gatekept, you, the one that's being kept from a community, um, it's you giving them that authority. They don't have any authority. The pundit can't tell you you're not OSR. I fucking can't. All right. And I'm the one on the receiving end of people on that one side uh, that, their complaints about me is I have too much influence. I have too much authority. I, uh, I am, I, I guess I'm like potentially the evil Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. I don't have power. Okay, and any influence that I might have is granted to me by the people that follow the tavern. That are, but the same people that tell me to fuck off and I'm an idiot and I'm an asshole if I'm an idiot or an asshole in their point of view. So again, the only influence I have is what's granted to me. Nobody can tell you are not a member of the OSR if you want to be. Because if you want to be, you are. And if you don't want to be, just because somebody labels you from the outside, oh wow, yeah, your work is OSR, and oh no, I'm not OSR, I'm Dreamweaver, Sword Dreamer. Um, you do realize that none of that has any authority. It comes down to you. All right. And I can understand why some people might not want to be associated with a, a community or a label that is mostly like that as older males, right? I can understand that. There are women in the OSR, but there aren't as many. And I think a lot of this break off is, and I'm gonna put like for a warning sign up here right now for you folks because I stray away from politics, I stay away from social issues. But I think a lot of this, I don't want to be part of the OSR is uh, people in, oh God, I hate saying this phrase, but in marginalized communities who feel they get lost in the larger OSR. And I can understand that. So if you want to say that, listen, I want a smaller community that is not older males that have been gaming since the 70s, again, but I can understand that. But don't label the community that you are seeking to leave behind as, oh God, what were the words there? Regressive was probably one of them, and another assorted shite. Uh, because you might have problems with individuals, but the OSR as a whole is one of the most welcoming communities I've ever seen, let alone been a part of. So take this whole schism for what it is. Okay, it is pretty much voices that feel they are being left out because although the OSR is a small community and within the larger RPG community, there are still voices within the OSR that feel that they can't get their proper influence. And again, that is another part of this influence. Okay, when you can't control a community, and some people try to, but when you can't control a community of, it could be your block watch or whatever. I've seen this happen in New York, where you have an organization that comes together, gets built up to do something good, and then you have two groups in power or try to be in power, a group in power and a group that tries to take power. And in the end, what happens is that that smaller group that is not able to take power breaks off. Now, here's the issue with the OSR. The OSR does not have leadership. Okay, the OSR is amorphous. It's like an amoeba. It just kind of it exists and it moves and all that stuff, but there is no central mind. There is no flag bearer that controls what's going on. I don't control it. The pundit doesn't control it. The Greyhawk Grognard doesn't. Wenger doesn't. The companies don't. Frog God, Goodman Games, they don't control it. It's a community movement so you can't control it. And if you are trying to control it, and you get frustrated that you can't influence it, okay, because a lot of these stuff, that was the whole thing with the Honorable OSR and that whole break off. If you can't control it, then you want to create something that you can control, a group, an organization, a banner, that even if it's smaller, you feel that your like-minded individuals have control and influence over it. And what you left behind is evil. What you're denying, because you cannot exert the influence that you need. That shit is evil. Again, the biggest complaint about me that I've seen pop up here or there in recent times is that I have too much influence. And what that means is that these breakaways, these smaller attempts at influencing within the OSR, because they cannot manipulate me to control what's going on, they feel that I have too much influence. Think about it, okay? And what's going on with all this stuff. All right, folks, on that note, as always, God bless, be safe, be well. Roll those dice, and I will talk with you all tomorrow. Warning, additional content. Warning. All right, so I just took a shower and I had a few other thoughts I wanted to add into this. I didn't want to make it an extra episode tomorrow because that just becomes like self-defeating. But here's my thought. Okay, with these outliers, with these breakaways, with these attempts to control, when they complain about folks like myself having too much influence, and I've had that complaint, and it's been recent. Somebody was complaining that I was a member of too many communities on MeWe, and I had too much influence and I was abusing it. Here's the deal. If I was furthering their causes, if I was taking up their standard, I would not have too much influence. I wouldn't have enough. They'd be looking at ways to increase my influence. Interesting, right? Because I only have too much influence because it is not at their service. And I got news for everyone listening. The only influence I have is that which is granted to me. Okay? If I were to suddenly become a corporate shill, I'd have absolutely no influence. I understand that. I have influence because I am true to my community. And what you hear on the podcast, and when you read my written word, and when you meet me in person, I am the same fucking person. There's no show. This is it. Okay? Also, the Tavern and all its incarnations is politics and social issues free. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have my own political leanings. It doesn't mean that I don't have my own stance on political issues. But I like a gaming table where the never Trumper and the pro Trump, the pro life and the pro abortionist, where people on all sides can come together and game and embrace their commonality. Okay, not their differences, their commonality at the gaming table. There are a lot of places to fight your political and social issue battles. I don't think it belongs at the gaming table. Why? Why? Somebody's asking. Why doesn't it belong at the gaming table? Gaming is where people socialize. Yes, gaming is where people socialize. But gaming is also where people look to take a break from their daily struggles, their daily issues. Gaming is escapism. And I don't know of many people that want to bring real life issues into their escapism. Okay? So that's just my thoughts. Yours may vary, yours may differ, but those are my thoughts. All right, folks. Now, later.